You're watching all the action from Bridgestone Production Cars, round number 4. All this action brought to you in association with Fast Orange Hand Cleaner and Alcohol Killer. Makes you feel better. So East London Grand Prix Circuit, this is where all the big hitters are, and this is the stage of the season where we have put to bed 3 rounds and we're starting to head forward and look at the championship.
So almost 8 weeks off, and they wouldn't have been idle. They would have been spending some time doing some development and not wasting their time. But as you say, they're here to do all the hitting at East London.
Johan Fourie tops the charts in qualifying, 100th of a second ahead of his teammate Cornier, Michael Stephen and Gennaro Bonafide, row 2.
Simon Moss, and then next to him, Henny Grunewald.
Things are going according to plan.
No, very happy. We did a lot of work in the off-season. Felt like forever, but 8 weeks goes really long. But we luckily did some testing at Swartbox and found some issues on the brakes that we sorted out. So I'm very happy and very confident on the brakes. And the pace of the car is good, the consistency. So we knew we came here with a chance of actually turning the season around a bit.
So qualifying Class T, and Michael van Rooyen up front on the front row with Graham Nathan next to him. Lee Thompson and then Gary Formato in the Ford.
Watch out, because the next row is made up of Mandla Indikani, Sean Duminy and Charles Smallberger. It's going to be a busy race.
Mark all good yesterday for qualifying and of course on pole position, but now a little bit of work to do, only 4th in the warm-up.
Yes, I think good qualifying yesterday. We're very pleased to be on pole. Always the best place to start from, obviously. Not very concerning this morning to be 4th. The conditions were a little bit different. But we always start on pole, so we'll try and keep it there.
A bit of a change-up for you this weekend, huh? Mini and Castrol.
Yeah, it's good to join a new team. I've been doing a bit of testing with the guys and got the chance to come and ride the car. Beautiful car, very powerful, and nice to join the production car guys.
Looking forward to the challenge today. I know you're not quite at the front yet, but you've got pace, so there's a good possibility in this fight, especially in Class T, there's always a chance of a win.
Yeah, I mean, we ran third most of yesterday, just a few errors in quali, but these guys know these cars quite a bit, and I've got Lee showing me all the tricks, so I think in the race we should be able to push and do our best.
First race of the day is going to be the 8-lap sprint race, so nothing held back. These guys are going to be warming the tyres and ready to rock and roll. BMWs should be able to stretch things away in the early part, and I think as the tyres start to fade off a little bit, then the Audis will come strong.
Yeah, certainly, Matt. They've got straight line speed. The Audis will be in the tighter bits, doing very, very well, but I think the BMWs might have a measure of it today, and this being the fastest circuit in South Africa.
On board with Gennaro Bonafide on the outside of the corner, going into Potters. He's going to have to be real brave, because on the inside is reigning champion Michael Stephen. He's going to give him no room, and a good catch there. A very good catch. You check out all that wheel work. Bonafide had the back end of that thing wagging all over the place. He only lost the one spot as well.
He did. Now, in the past, Gennaro... Oh, here we go!
That was Henny and Gennaro, and everything has gone sideways.
Oh, big shunt there. Henny Grunewald. Look at the back right side of that car. Massive impact.
And it was Michael van Rooyen, our pole man in the Class T's in the Chevrolet, that got collected there.
Well, new sponsorship on the car in view of the American celebrations of the 4th of July. There were fireworks there, I can tell you.
I'll tell you what, that was absolutely terrifying. A couple of the cars were blindsided, and the man that came out the worst out of that was Michael van Rooyen. Here we go. Both the BMWs fine. There's Michael Stephen. Gennaro looked like he got tagged to the outside by Henny Grunewald, sliding his way up the inside, and then it was just a dust bowl. Van Rooyen collecting. He tried to go to the outside, so there may not be as much damage as we thought, but he is definitely banged up the front end of the Chev.
What we have to realise here is that Gennaro Bonafide's been incredibly brave trying to drive around the outside of this.
Yeah, I think the situation was set up, though, because he's stuck on the outside there. Moss has already gone through. Henny Grunewald then goes through, tags his teammate, and spins himself out at the same time. And Nathan was lucky enough to thread the needle there. You can see everyone is being calmed down a little bit here, though. This is going to be a big cleanup operation as the safety car is out and everyone just has to follow suit.
Yeah, we're going to lose some laps here, but what an incident earlier on in the race, and Henny Grunewald Groeneveld is okay, as we can see, and Michael van Rooyen is going to be hugely disappointed with the outcome of this.
And Gennaro Bonafide, because he realistically had done all the hard work. He'd saved a big incident on the outside of Potters, which was turn 1. There's Van Rooyen, the man who was on pole in the Class T's, and that Chev is smashed up. I don't think it's going to be a show in this race. It's going to be Nathan that leads out in the T's.
Restart, here we go, the BMW's out, and of course Johan Ferrari has been looking great all weekend. That thing is dialed in at the moment.
Yeah, the story is though, Gennaro Bonafide, who was in that incident on the first lap, is back up and racing, already almost at the front of the Class T's, and as soon as he gets through these boys, then he's got some clear air to go. He's got up the inside of Thompson, and then he goes and threads. This is the corner where all that fracas happened in the first running, and he is up to the back end of Nathan. He's got a lot of work to do though.
And that car looks very squirrely indeed. So he had to take evasive action, run on the dirt. Maybe there's a little bit of damage on the suspension. We don't know.
That's a twitch of Nathan there. Don't matter if you're in a Class A or a Class T. You're not coming past me. But horsepower is going to have the advantage. And he should be able to sweep around the outside going into gate. So there we go. Gennaro Bonafide out of the back end of the Class A's and in clear air. And he's going to leave the Class T boys to have their own battle.
Into the complex. Now this is where the Class T's really, really do well. And they really get around those corners very, very quickly. They've got the power as well. Nathan outdone there by Gennaro Bonafide, purely, as you say, on power.
On board with Charles Smallberger. Remember, he had a poor qualifier, so he's at the back end trying to get through on Dumini, and he's going to be dicing it out with Madla Indukani. Those guys will have their own little cluster going on, because you can see the top 3 in the T's already breaking themselves away. It's Formato that holds third place just behind the Mini. He's in the Ford.
And of course, Mundler is in amongst the big boys, and he will know that there's pressure coming, and will bring that to bear. They'll be taking advantage of the fact that he's a rookie in this class, and hopefully they might be able to scare the living daylights out of him. If it was me, I'd be scared.
Yeah, and you've got to be scared because Ferrari is on a big flyer at the moment, stretching himself away from Gavin Cronje. So Cronje is going to have his mirrors full, and already has his mirrors full, of the reigning champion, Michael Stephen, in the Extreme Audi. He is absolutely charging at the moment. And remember, he was lucky enough and positioned himself well enough in that incident to stay away from all the trouble.
Now, 3-time reigning champion is Michael Stephen in the Team Engine Audi Extreme. And of course, Simon Moss, his teammate. They will not want to get themselves into any kind of trouble, because points here are a premium.
Yeah, you got to be desperate. Remember, though, Heat 1 here at Bridgestone Production Cars, 8-lapper sprint race essentially. So you've got to make the moves fast, and you've got to be aggressive. And Michael Stephen is close enough this time around that we may see a move here up into Beacon. We're heading to the final corner of the lap, and the Audi is positioning himself.
Yeah, Cronje is doing an amazing job right now keeping Michael Stephen at bay, and Johan Ferrari is just taking full advantage of this. This is going to be a good day for Ferrari. I just got it in my blood here. He's done well in practice, well in qualifying, and that car is on fire.
Yeah, and good legs on the BMWs. The alcohol killer BMWs are so strong in the mid-range and the top end that you can see coming halfway down the straight, even though the Engine Extreme Audi is in the slipstream, he gets dropped by 3 car lengths.
Watch them slide around here. It's just absolutely stunning to watch. Through that right-hander, full tilt, those cars are moving. The spectators really getting an eyeful here of what these production cars are capable of.
Now it's a blocking roll. Gav Cronje is going to be holding things back and trying to cover those inside lines. Michael Stephen will have to start pulling all those tricks out of his multiple championship bag to see if he can actually slide on through. All the while, Ferrari is stretching it out.
At the back, Gennaro Bonafide comes out of Cochabana, and they're into the gate and coming up to that complex. Really, really good stuff from the alcohol killer BMWs. They are showing superb pace at the moment. Focusing right now. Here's Class T. That looks like Lee Thompson down the inside. Might outbreak himself there going too quickly, and he does.
And how close was that? As I say, you couldn't fit a fag paper between the 2 bumpers as Nathan just positioned himself perfectly, slid back into the lead. But this is a great 3-way split. A Volkswagen product, a Mini product, and a Ford product, and they are close as close can be.
Yeah. So Thompson's had a look down on the inside, got the door closed, and again he gets the door closed on him by Nathan. Lee Thompson has not finished this. Gary Formato just behind is going to follow this and just look for the toe.
Just sniffing at the bumper every single time, and it's obvious that that Mini has got a good turn of power, but a very solid setup on the brakes. And here's the positioning once again. Watch for him to push the front end a little bit far out, and Nathan to try and climb up the inside. This time, though, Thompson is going to be clever and fade across all the way very slowly towards the pit lane and cover that inside line.
Yeah, you nailed it. Good call on that. We knew Thompson was just sort of lighting it up. He had a couple of bites at the cherry, and he's made it stick at the moment. Nathan will come back at him, though.
Here's a man that hasn't found his way through, and all the while, any chance of a race victory is all but gone, because Fourie is holding 1.5 second advantage over the second place, and all the while as well, Moss is closing things down on Michael Stephen. So Gavin Cronje is playing a huge blocking role here at the moment, but it doesn't look like a blocking role when you come to the end of the straights, because the BMW is so strong.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree with you. And also, it's going to allow Johan Fourie just to tap off a little bit and just save the car a bit more. So a nice little T-class battle at the moment, and it's still Thompson.
Check out Formato at the back of this as well. He's just quite happily watching, waiting for it to all fall apart.
Yeah, well, he's looking for that toe, and he doesn't have to do anything brave at the moment, but there's not much time left in this sprint race.
Yeah, that's the story. The sprint race, it's all frustration. You can smell the tension out there. Again, the VW GTI gets the good legs, and just towards the braking marker, gets himself in the position. But he was watching the back end of the Mini the whole time, and that allowed Formato to just slide his way through. He's been looking for a gap that whole time, and Formato has played a very good game here.
Yeah, Formato with the finesse, and he's really made it stick at the moment, and Nathan will be scratching his head, and quite rightly looking in the rearview mirror. But there is the checkered flag, and it's a win for Johan Fourie in the Alcohol Killers BMW.
Yeah, set that up nicely. We go back into Beacon Corner. This is the Class T's 8 laps in a heartbeat has gone, and Thompson has done the great work. But the move of the race was definitely Gary Formato, just timing it perfectly heading into gate. But first win at the sprint race, Class T's in the Bridgestone production cars. First blood goes to Thompson. So after all the chaos on lap 1, turn 1, it all came down to the BMWs doing what we knew they would do on paper with the higher top speeds and formation flying. Fourie first, Cronje second, Michael Stephen frustrated in third ahead of Moss, and Bonafide recovered to fifth.
Race 1, incident pack, buddy, and wow, you were fortunate not to get involved in the accident behind you, but it left with you a chance to get away and do the damage at the front.
A lot of laps behind the safety car, which helped us a lot. I mean, the race was only 4 laps long then, so just like a qualifying run, basically, just do 4 quick laps and the race was over. So I think it's a little bit disappointing for the spectators, but it was good for us because we saved the car, and I'm very happy, can't complain.
Big incident there in race 1, Henny. Take us through what went wrong.
Yeah, unfortunately I got involved in a tangle with my teammate. Him and Simon Moss had an incident through turn 1, and I ran up the inside from Potters leading up to Rifle, so I was down the inside, and 2 cars obviously don't fit through Rifle together, and we touched, which resulted into a spin of my car, and unfortunately caused Michael van Rooyen to have a bad day. You know, he's in the championship running, and a brand new car that our team's also built for him, and he's had some damage, which is very unfortunate, and just like mine, you know, we got a car that needs to be rebuilt, and I'm out of race 2.
Right, let's have a look at the class results in Class T in race 1. Lee Thompson in the Mini, Gary Formato, Graham Nathan, Manda Ndakani, and then Sean Duminy in the other Ford.
You timed that to perfection for race 1, absolutely right at the last minute, got past and took the win.
Yeah, look, I could see from practice that the other cars definitely had a little bit more straight line speed than us, so I knew if I could just stay in the tow and hang on with them, at least somewhere in the complex I could make a move on them, because it looked like the Mini was a lot quicker through the complex this weekend. And I first got Graham on the brakes, obviously at Beacon at the last corner. And then I think the Ford hassled him a little bit and gave me a little bit of time to get away. And I obviously delighted to have the win. And yeah, it's good for he too. Let's see what happens there.
So join us after the break for the feature race, Bridgestone production cars.
Welcome back to race number 2, our theme piece of the Bridgestone production car race from East London.
Now race 1 was all about the chaos going into turn 1 on lap 1. This is for double points. It's a reverse grid. It could be even more tense for 12 laps of racing.
Notice how Gennaro Bonafide is in the mix. Stephen will have a point to prove, and so will not Simon Moss, because they come from this area. And, well, we'll have to see how Graham Nathan also reacts in Class T.
Yeah, Nathan making 2 almost uncharacteristic mistakes in the sprint race, allowing 2 cars to come through. Third place, so he'll want to be able to get that one back. But look how Gennaro Bonafide was just getting left in the dust, and it looks like it's Mandla Ndakani that leads things out as it gets very busy and tight once again going into Potters.
Busy? You could get a blanket over that. Fantastic.
Van Rooyen once again on the grass. He must be thinking, what do I have to do to stay on the tarmac?
Incident free? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But if race 1 is anything to go by, these boys are all in it for the money.
Yeah, this is all about Michael Stephen. Remember, championship points leader heading into this round. He was the back of the pack as far as the Class A's go. He sits in the 4th spot right now as they head into gate for the first time.
And we know that is not going to stay the same.
No, it's going to be a long, hard challenge. And in this race, with Moss as loose as that, it's going to be all about this situation. The Audis having to work together to try and tag onto the brute power that the BMWs have. And there, the line. We've seen Michael Stephen do it in the past, and once again he sets up the killer move and gets up to 3rd place ahead of his teammates.
Well, that was a big move on the back end of that car as well. He was lucky to hold on to that. And also Simon Moss battling a little bit with the handling of that car. Let's hope that he doesn't overdrive it.
In the T's, watch out for this, because it's the first time that Mandla Indikani has had clear air in front, but all kinds of pressure coming on the back wheel. The first man in the first of the Golf GTIs is Charles Smallberger. We go on board. His position is correct. He should lead across the stripe.
All right, on their way down to Potters, and an amazing day so far for this boy, Charles Smallberger. He'll want to stay in the mix, but for Marto's on his tail, and watch out for the Mini. It's all going to get really interesting.
It certainly is, because Formato is on a huge charge. The back end of the Ford a little bit loose there, twitching around. I think he got caught in the suck, and the air was definitely affecting that car. You can see Van Rooyen at the back of this pack. He's out of this one. He's got no setup on the car going into race number 2. The Mini around the outside about to lose another position. Formato is on the big push.
Yeah, driving really well. He closed that door just on the outside. A Smallberger nearly got involved there, but the BMW alcohol killers are flying formation style.
It's a slight flip around this time around. This time, 2nd place in the first heat. Cronier leads things out. They will work together, but it does look like the advantage is in the hands of the man that runs in the 2 spot. First race winner, Johan Ferree, and he is trying to set his teammate up. He's not going to force a big move as long as they can hold an advantage. But remember, Michael Stephen now sits in the 3 spot and is coming.
We also know, Matt, that there are no team orders with regard to the BMW team as well.
Oh, sorry, Steve. Change up in the Class T's. Formato hits the front. Mandla Indikani is doing a great job there as well, because he looked like he slipped back to 3rd. He's taken back 2nd place, but for a short while, and leans over on Charles Smallberger. While we're talking about Mandla Indikani, the other Mini,
Lee Thompson,
missing in action.
And we're getting some information that he's parked on the infield, possibly with a broken half shaft.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard pill to swallow. It's a heartbreaker when things go wrong at the away races. And there goes Nathan. So Nathan is on the big fight back now, just easing his way into this race, obviously letting things calm down a little bit. Remember, 12 laps, a long time to survive out here.
Now, the other thing to consider here is we have not spoken about the wind here in East London, and it is blowing a lot of stuff onto this track.
Oh, Mandla Indikani, all kinds of out of shape. There's going to be a touch here. He was incredible on the brakes there. The thing looked like it was slightly out of control, but that Mini and Mandla's right foot, a perfect setup. He's got that thing dialed in.
Look at the toe. Look at the toe of Nathan right now. Absolutely on his bumper. And here comes Formato again. This is the same place where they did battle coming into the complex.
So Indikani was leading. He was the pole man for this race. Dropped down to 3rd place, recovered to 2nd, and now he's got 1st place, but now he's got a man that will not give him a gap, hounding him. It's Nathan in the 2 spot.
Yeah, be aware that there may be some rubbing. Oh, he's having a look on the inside. Formato, brilliant stuff. Mandla does not give it up.
So it was Nathan in the 2 spot. Formato has taken that position back in the Ford, and there's a good freight train going on here. There's a hard push.
So through the complex. Oh, going wide there. That is the Chev from Michael Van Rooyen.
Yeah, it's definitely not a day of independence for him. He has been farming the whole way through the day, and it has been a battle.
Farmers are good too.
At the front, though, Mandla Indikani is really making me sit up and take notice. The kid has got some skills. We saw him come out of karting, but remember, this is a front-wheel drive. You know, it's going to be a completely different experience for him. But he is out there, he is aggressive, and he's going for it. But this line and this move, we'll see Formato hit clean air and the front for the first time.
Yeah, where would you find a Mini outdoing an STI Ford on a straight line?
We'll check it getting busy here, and shades of race number 1 as Michael Stephen, reigning champion and reigning point series champion at the moment, pulls up to the bumper.
Yeah, he's playing it smart though, isn't he? I mean, he doesn't want to get involved in any of this. Points, if he finishes 3rd, it'll be good enough and he'll move on to the next one.
Well, this is what we've seen. The tyres on the BMWs in these feature races do burn up a little bit towards the end of things.
Smallberger having a fantastic day.
He is. He's been involved in it. I wouldn't say he's kept his nose clean, but he's right up there and he is battling and fighting for every point he can get.
Distance between Mandla and also now Graham Nathan has increased a little bit. Can he fight back? Can he come back on this one?
Well, the big fight back at the moment is actually Van Rooyen. Royan. He had that terrible situation in race number 1, but he is the fastest man on the circuit right now in the Chevy Cruze.
6 of 12 gone, and it's getting exciting. The BMW is leading, flying formation as well out front, chased down by Michael Stephen, the reigning champion. But the action, fast and furious, is in Class T. There's Smallberger.
Yeah, Smallberger is doing the right thing right now. Nathan has come through on him, so Smallberger slots down into 4th place. Spare a thought for Duminy, though, at the back there. Really off the bubble here in race number 2.
Let it never be said that we didn't mention his name in this broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, you can see he's got a problem on the car. It's not making the power, and he's just limping around, just salvaging as many points as he can. But this is the story at the back end of the Class T's. Michael van Rooyen having a killer drive here, and we knew that this car was going to be a big player coming down. It's got a great aero package, and he is pulling up to the bumper of the 2 GTIs. He's got a chance to maybe come through on at least one of them to go back and pick up on the leaders in the Class A's.
Yeah, this is where my focus is on at the moment, and here comes Stephen having a look on the outside of that car, and you do not want to go around Potters on the outside. We saw Gennaro Bonafide in the first race try that. A lot of bravery is needed there to even make that attempt.
The story is, I mean, as you go into Potters on the outside, it slightly rolls off camber, but it's filthy out there as well. There is one line through Potters. If you go outside of that, it's marbles.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of dust, and there it is again, because the wind is just blowing all of this stuff, and it's affecting the tyres and the grip at the moment. But right now, though, here's the focus. It is Cronje and Johan Faree, the alcohol killers BMW. This is where it is, formation flying.
Look at the Class T's, no formation here. Formato has done some great work in the early laps, got through on Mandla Indikani. Indikani, though, he is rock solid there in 3rd place.
Whoa.
And we go on board with Van Rooyen as he tries to climb into the boot with Shopping. He's been to Macro. He is loading up pressure in bulk on the back end of that GTI.
Formato still screaming there. There's Mandla in that Mini, and he's doing a sterling job at the moment. And here comes Graham Nathan again. Watch out. Smallberger at the back, under pressure here from the Chevrolet, from the Williams Hunt. It is Michael van Rooyen. The car is just not looking that great.
No, Van Rooyen is running out of time, unfortunately. That is the story of this race. He is just running out of time. But remember, he was the fastest all the way through practice, and he was pole man in qualifying, so we know that on paper that Chev Cruze was worrying a lot of people coming to this event.
Well, you're right on the money, because he set the fastest lap. He set the fastest lap in race 1. He's now gone even quicker in race 2.
Yeah, look at how the field is blown wide open. First place is Johan Faree, race number 1 winner. Second is Cronje, then Michael Stephen, and then you've got to go almost half the straight back to pick up on the second of the Engine Extreme Audis, and that's Moss.
Well, yeah, and he's still churning around at quite a pace as well. Coming to grips with that car, no doubt, Terry Moss' dad has had a quiet word in his ear.
And look at this, the blocking situation that we saw at the end of the sprint race is coming into play as well. But here we go, Michael Stephen, king of the outside lines. Now here we go. We talked about the lines only for the brave. On the outside of gate is only for the brave, but Michael Stephen doesn't have the horsepower. He's going to change his mind, though, and switch to the outside in the complex. You can overtake around the outside of the complex to set up an inside going into the sweep, but he's not going to do it this time. We have seen it happen in the past, though.
Cronje is doing an absolutely amazing job keeping Stephen at bay at this stage.
Yeah, it's so hard. You can see Michael Stephen changing his mind, changing his lines, all the while back in the Class T's. Here comes Nathan. Around the outside, he does have a horsepower advantage. He's used the slip perfectly, and that is Potters in a Golf GTI buried.
I have seen him lose it there on that spot and regain it. Some of the best driving skill I've ever seen in my life.
And he tagged a little bit of dirt on the way out as well, so he pushed it to the very limit. Here he is on the brakes. Mandla Indikani up the inside, hard and late on the brakes into Kokobana, and makes the move stick too.
Wow, Nathan's going to be going, and this rookie now?
And leaning on him the whole way through, trying to find as much space or give away as much
he
space.
stabbed him!
Yeah, it just came over. He was slowly coming over and over, and there he goes, over and over in the bushes as well. Nathan just trying to squeeze across, and he wasn't far enough across, tagged himself, basically spun himself out of that one.
Oh, that's interesting as well, but at least, fortunately, a soft landing into the bush and the trees and the shrubbery.
Here we go, look at that. The Mini is on the inside, Nathan moving over. It wasn't the Mini coming out, it was the Golf GTI moving across to the right-hand side and turned himself, a very rare crash here at the East London Grand Prix circuit, to go to the inside coming out of that one.
So, lots of body damage, the war wounds, the scars, the duct tape and all of that sort of stuff hanging off that body of the Mini. And Mandla has got the bit between his teeth.
What a turnaround for the Chevy Cruze as well. We're on board with Charles Smallberger, trying to see what is going on here, because this race is blown wide open now.
Still, Ferrari leading out, setting the fastest lap in East London all the way through from qualifying pole. Oh, magnificent stuff from Stephen.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen in the complex. That is where the Audi, and particularly the Audi in the hands of Michael Stephen, have the advantage. It's not going to happen on the brakes, and it's not going to happen under power. It has to be a controlled pass, and it has to happen in the complex. But we are just running out of time. And unfortunately, oh, here we go. Red flag. I was building up to the last couple of laps there. A red flag. So obviously that incident with Graham Nathan stopping the race prematurely.
Let's get the results. Johan Ferrari first. Gavin Cronje, Michael Stevens, Simon Moss and Gennaro Bonafide.
Gave a great start to the race, buddy, but it looked like your car wasn't quite on the same kind of pace as Johan found this weekend.
Yeah, look, I mean, I had a troubled start to the weekend, so it's a great comeback for me. And for BMW, 1-2 in race 1, 1-2 in race 2. I mean, we couldn't have asked for more. So for the team, great. For me, great. And I think for Johan, spectacular. So let me take the championship fight to them.
You said that at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the day, you thought you was going to take it to Michael Stephen. It's exactly what panned out at the end of the day. And now heading to Pakisa, good possibility that things are going to change up.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to Pakisa, but to come back to today, I think it's an unbelievable day for us. I mean, full points for myself and maximum points for Gavin. I mean, we took all the points for the first and second position, so we worked hard. And again, like Gavin said, after his bad luck yesterday, a little bit, not a lot of track time, come back and put it on second on the grid, and then in the race, keeping the champion behind him like he did. I mean, unbelievable driving and awesome for us and for BMW and for ADF Motorsport.
Now to look at the provisional results for Class T. Mandla Indikani takes his first victory ahead of Graham Nathan, Michael Van Rooyen and Sean Duminy. This is all pending the steward's inquiry.
Let's have a look at the points as they stand, and a new leader in the championship by 2. It's Ferrari over Stephen, Bonafide in third, Cronje, Moss and Groenewald.
Coming out of East London in the Class T's, Nathan still leads on the points tally ahead of Van Rooyen, Formato and Thompson. Duminy down there in 5th place, but we wait to see what the outcome of that result is.
Make sure you join us for round number 5 on the 2nd of August as we head to Pakisa.
This Bridgestone Production Cars racing action from round 4 was proudly brought to you by Fast Orange Hand Cleaners and Alcohol Killer. Makes you feel better.